Wake up, buy here, pay here people. It's a beautiful day. Go grab yourself another cup of joe and say hello to Jim and Michelle Rhodes on the Buy Here, Pay Here morning show. Take it away, you two.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Michelle,
Hi. Yeah.
are you awake out there? It's
I
early in Utah.
I am. I have like coffee brewing right now, so I haven't had a chance to have any yet. And
Yeah,
yeah, it's about 7 a.m. where I'm at, but
I've
that,
had a couple of cups. I was at the gas station at 6 a.m. this
I'm
morning.
so glad you got gas, Jim.
Yeah, yeah, I
I'm
know.
really glad you got gas.
So I'm
Those out
sure,
there in listener land.
yeah, folks in listener land probably pay more attention to the weather or the news than Michelle and I do, but we've been watching the weather because of the major storm that's headed for the west coast of Florida. Michelle is safely in Utah, but I am at our place in Clearwater, which
On
is
the water. On the water, clear
yeah,
water. Water.
just slated to take a hit. So we're kind of scrambling and making plans, and we're hearing about all the shelves being empty. Hey, good morning, Tommy and PA. So yeah, there's stuff to be figured out. So there's no telling where I'll be doing the Wednesday broadcast. So,
Or if I'll be with them.
yeah,
Um,
stuff
yeah,
to be figured out.
I d I know Jim went out to try to find some gas a couple of nights ago just to make sure that the tank was full and nothing was open,
Yeah,
and so got was able to get gas this morning, so thank goodness,
yeah, full
and
tank
we
of
were
gas. Got options.
yeah, yeah, so, yeah, weather's not the topic of the day, though.
No, and good morning, Tyler in West Texas. Glad to have you here this morning. If you're listening in this morning, we'd always appreciate you letting us know what state you're listening from. That helps us to kind of get a feel for who's out there
Mhm.
and who's awake this time of the morning. So, right?
I'm barely.
I get it. You're quite a ways out west. There's George, our friend from, I say our friend, we speak to him all the time, but we've yet to
Not
meet in
bad.
person.
Yeah,
Yeah.
hopefully we, have, who knows what's gonna be happening with FIADA,
Yeah.
and so we're looking forward to George meeting you if everything goes according to plan. We're crossing our fingers that yeah, that it's gonna go off like it would have normally gone off, and we'll just have lots of fun things to talk about.
Right. And I see Bill Elizondo said hello. He gave us the go ahead, by the way, Michelle, on the
Podcast.
podcast. So we'll have a new podcast to release on the Tote the Note series with Bill Elizondo. So he's got some insight to share with folks on leasing and
Yeah.
in LHPH. So you'll want to stay tuned for that. It should be released in the next day or two here. And then for today, I wanted to kick off a mentorship series, Michelle. This is something that is, we've been talking a lot about mentorship for the Institute. And so today was really about, I'm just stepping into using some of our time on the morning show to do mentorship. Some would say you're doing that already, Jim, but this is really in a more specific way. I'm just going to start taking our listeners through all the stuff that we teach kind of in an orderly fashion. And I think it's important for people to first understand kind of what we teach. And so I think, and kind of to understand, our purpose behind doing what we do. We've touched on that some in the past, but this weekend I was just struck by the fact that we really just need to make sure people understand, because they're going to look at this and think, Jim, why are you giving this stuff away? Don't you get paid as a coach? Right. And so they're going to say, why do you give this stuff away? And, of course, you and I have talked about this plenty, Michelle. Like, in reality, we don't expect to make a living on education. We're out there trying to get
Yeah.
education in the hands of more folks. And so this is really today is kind of a step in that direction, in a kind of a more prominent way. And you're going to see us, in the coming weeks. I'm going to share all the stuff that we do around just how you set up, how you structure your business. We'll talk about staffing, and we'll move into what I call pre-sales, all the things you do before you ever start, showing cars. And then of course we'll talk about sales and underwriting, collections and all of that stuff. But we're going to start to just mentor folks right here in the morning show. And then all that material will be available over in the nation as well. But I'm just going to start to share with people what we do and how we do it. And I think it's important for people to understand, well, maybe I don't want to do it the gym way. Well, I could
That's
certainly
right.
be. That could certainly be. But so I'm trying to help folks understand, what is the gym way? Well, you've heard us talk plenty about the white hat way. You know, that's going to be foundational in what we teach, which is about making sure that dealers have a good experience, that their customers have a good experience, and that they're really in a position to build a business that is sustainable. And so I think it's probably important for me to break that down. Like, I use that word quite a bit, a sustainable business. What does that mean? Well, to me, that means a business that is healthy enough, it's financially solid enough, cash flow, profitability. It's stable enough and healthy enough to be able to be a fixture in the community for a long time, be a source of earnings for the dealer for a very long time. That's a sustainable business, and by my definition. Okay,
Mhm.
something that and also healthy enough to weather the storms that are, so to speak, the storms that are the kind of the ebbs and flows that can be part of buy here, pay here. So that's what I mean by sustainable. We're trying to help dealers build a business that is going to be sustainable.
And I think that one of the things to be aware of that is a differentiator is, one, that the education is, it's not something that's personalized to your location. That's not personalized to, what your situation is, what your ACV is, what your, all of the things, because there are so many moving parts in buy here, pay here. So, it's not something that uh, it is going to be like, this is the absolute way of doing every last little piece. But it's giving people a really good idea about the things that are important in buy here, pay here. And we hear all the time that dealers, especially when we step into an engagement with someone that has been in business for a little while, it's like, dang, the mistakes I made were so
Sure.
expensive.
Right.
And we're just trying to help mitigate that for dealers. We're trying to help them, not make the costly mistakes, but also to pepper in that training, those squiggly lines like we've talked about, the white hat way, the ethics, and making decisions that help you to be the asset to your customer and your community that you want to be, and
Right.
making a difference in people's
Yeah.
lives.
And I
And
think the other piece of that, Michelle, is that I also want to help dealers create a business that is valuable. Okay. So, I mean, that
uh,
should be pretty easy to understand what I mean by that. I want the business to be marketable, right?
I chuckle, not because I don't think it's doable. I chuckle because that's probably one of the big things that is that's a pretty big hill that we are setting forward to climb.
Yeah, and I'm up for it. Like, I just think
Yeah.
I'm gonna just keep beating that drum because it's people often say, "I don't think a buy here, pay your business can have blue sky. I don't think it can have value," and we just see it differently.
Mhm.
We've seen businesses, we've been in enough businesses that we see businesses that if Jim and Michelle were buying it, we know which ones we'd pick. We know which ones are more valuable to
Yeah.
us, you
Yeah.
know? And so what that tells you is that there are some things that translate into marketability marketability and translatability. That's probably not a word, but just a value that would translate.
Uh-huh.
We can do that. Nobody's awake. We can if we want to.
Well, honey, the word you come up with anyway.
Yeah, that's right.
That's
Just throw
a
some
good word.
hashtags out
Uh-huh.
there. No, I think so it's also then scalable, which that's kind of a conversation for another day. Not everybody's looking to scale their
Yeah.
business, but we certainly think the business should be positioned in a way to scale. And that can also get wrapped up in this conversation about absenteeism. We just believe dealers can position themselves to be able to have their business run without them standing in the building and be
All the time.
tethered to the building all the time. And that's what I would wish for anybody outside of buy here, pay here, even, restaurant business, you name it. Like I would not want to be tethered to the business in
Like
a way.
all operating hours. There's a lot of dealers out there that all operating hours, they are there.
You're there. And so if that's your choice, that's fine. But we just think there's other ways to get there, and we want to introduce those ideas. And so that's part of what our mentorship is all about. And we certainly recognize, look, there's only going to be a fraction of the people who might hear this message, who might say, this is this makes sense. This is the way I want to build my business. That's okay. We've said before, look, Michelle and I can't help. We can't help all the dealers anyway. We're working on scaling our own business and trying to make sure that we can help more people. But this is really about, just what we're trying to say is that we're not expecting to make a living on education. So we're prepared to educate.
Well, and and I know, as Jim and I have talked about this, one of the analogies that he's given, he's like, we can sit down and take someone through how to build a computer, like,
Yeah.
on the air. We can say, so here's the thing, and this little widget thingy, or the da 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 thingy, and so conceptually people can imagine the things and all of the stuff, and when we're done we can say, okay, now you know how to build a computer, go build your computer. And it's giving education is very different than teaching someone how to put all the pieces together.
Yeah. Or I can ask a dealer. I think my example in the past has been build your own website. You can go to YouTube and watch a 15-minute video on how to build your own website. Are you ready? You want to go watch your 15-minute video and build your own website? No, most of us don't want to do
Or you
that.
want someone to help you with it, kind
Yeah,
of.
most of us don't want to do that. So I think
And that's also true for all the other people out there that are helping try to improve dealers and education, because what we're going to give is there's going to be other points of view, and there's going to be other ways of doing things, and so we just encourage dealers to just get as much education as you can.
yeah.
And the other thing too that I want to just bring out, Jim, is that we're working on a platform that we're hoping to be able to reach a lot of dealers that are not tapped into everything that's happening within the national and state organizations.
Mhm.
Because they're doing a fantastic job, but they're not, there's a big segment of buy here, pay here dealers out there that just aren't tapped in.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, they don't know that there's things that they could tap into. They feel like, I got this, their dad did it, or their best friend did it, and they got this, they understand it. And so it's just kind of also a way for us to be able to help make sure, okay, because the bottom line is that our charge is to help this industry be better.
Yeah, I think that's the big why. And so I hope that people know us well enough by now, Michelle, that people are starting to realize we really mean that when we say it. Like, it's one thing to
So
you know,
much.
maybe put it on your website. It's another thing to just live it and breathe it. We truly want to leave this industry better than we found it. And we feel like we know how to do that. And so that's part of what you're hearing here, is that we're coming forward with the education, trying to get the education. And so what we're teaching we feel like is fundamentally sound. And we're also inviting others to help us coach.
Join us.
Yeah.
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 Join us.
So yeah, it's about getting education in the hands of more people. And so that was part of what the
Mhm.
Institute was all about. And so now, what does a typical consulting visit cost, Michelle? If somebody were to bring a consultant out to their dealership, is that
Oh, it's thousands
anything
of
from about
dollars.
thousands of dollars?
Yeah, it's
So
thousands
for
of dollars travel and
the
all.
Institute, we were started out at $29. We put it at $9 a month, moving it into um
Nation.
the nation, BHPH
Mhm.
nation. So if you're at the BHPH nation, that's about $100 a year, which means you'd have to pay us for about 25 years to be effectively the cost of what you're going to get for a
Yeah.
weekend. Now, is it the same? No, I'm not saying it's the same, but I'm just saying
Mhm.
we're trying to set it at a price that that we're we're not trying to make a living on education, and we're inviting others. And so it's not even the Jim and Michelle show. We're trying to invite others. So we are going to try to stick to things that are white hat approved, if you will.
Uh-huh.
So that means it's got to be ethically sound. It's got to be fundamentally sound. And, but it doesn't have to be just one way to do business. There are tons of ways to do business and have the customer have a good experience. And by the way, dealers deserve to be profitable. Like, this is something we don't talk about enough, Michelle. Like, we absolutely, when we talk about all this stuff of taking care of your customers and being an asset in your community, um, we totally believe that you should be profitable. You should have a healthy margin in your business. You deserve to be. You're providing a solution. You're taking some risk in providing that solution. And if you do it in a way that makes you an asset to your community, then you totally deserve to be paid well for that, providing that service to your community. Right?
Exactly. I like the what George piped in and said, teach that education improves knowledge and training improves skill. And
Right.
there's a lot of truth to that. It's like we recognize it's like let's first just get the information out there to
Yeah.
everybody. It's like
Yeah.
what are the things? What are the things you should be looking for? What are the things that, what are the things that you need to know to be able to run a buy.
Right. Well, and we know we're not alone out there. Like just in these Facebook groups, there are people, and George Spat is among them, people who get out there and give of themselves based on their education experience. We see that Tyler Simmons does it, Tommy Brandis does it. We could go on and on of all the people that are out there, generously sharing. Russell Moore does it all the time. It's like, they're out there giving information for the same reasons we're doing it. They're just trying to make the industry better. They're trying to help folks that are struggling, and so, yeah, it's all, part of the same deal. And so we're inviting many of those same folks to come and help us mentor, because we're not going to be able to reach all the people, and we want to be able to provide mentorship. In the meantime, we're going to start mentoring through this broadcast, and we'll invite others to join us in mentoring dealers. So, that's kind of what the whole thing was all about. And so I think when you talk about the big picture part of it, Michelle, that's just really something that I think
Yeah.
people need to hear it. They need to understand kind of where we're coming from, and get the idea that we really mean it. We're committed to delivering education in the most technologically feasible way. We
Yeah.
get it in the hands of more people, and so we're working on that, and we invite others to contribute to that.
And when we get when the nation goes live, I mean, there's pieces of it that will be going live very soon, but when the nation goes live and there is this directory of education, there's going to be workshops and masterminds and all those that will be there will be a fee attached to them from a lot, because we're opening this up to anyone out there that has education. I mean, we know that there are a lot of different vendors out there, people that have specialized understanding about the compliance and legal and all of the things. And so there will be education opportunities in the nation that are specialized, that are more about training, and so that there will be a nominal fee attached, or a fee attached, whatever it is that the person the value that they place on that information too. So it's not that everything in the nation's going to be available behind this just very thin curtain, without any additional fee, but it's we're kind of thinking that, like, let us handle all of the 99 courses for, like, in college, everything is the 98, the 99, all of those kind of things, which just it kind of sometimes seems remedial, but it's, my goodness, as we've been out there and talking to people, there are a lot of dealers that there are, it's like, okay, now we need to do algebra,
Yeah.
and let's help you figure this kind of stuff out. So,
Well,
um,
let's talk for a minute about who benefits when dealers across
oh my
the
goodness,
country
yeah.
get better educated, when they can access better education. Who benefits? If I'm a vendor, how might I benefit from my dealer being better informed? If I'm a capital provider, how do I benefit by my dealers understanding better how to operate their business and
If
having
I'm an
access to this stuff?
accountant or a,
Yeah.
compliance officer or whatever, yeah,
When our clients are better educated, all of us, maybe not clients, or, customers of DMS provider, whatever. It's when our dealers, as the students, are better educated, then I think all of those folks stand to benefit. And so that's why we think it's important for folks to join us in this.
Yeah.
This is an effort that you will see Michelle and I continue to to get out there and speak about it. I think you're starting to understand how the morning show even, came to be a thing. I don't think we thought that far ahead, Michelle, the morning that
No.
we set out to do it, but it's all part of our way to, get this information to more people.
Yeah.
And so we know that when we talk about it, people tell us all the time in all of our travels, say, man, more people need to hear this stuff.
Yeah.
Mhm. You know?
And it's, I think like probably we have a lot of friends that are in the capital world
Right.
too. And we hear just so often the same um friction points or hurdles that it's just like that a lot of dealers don't know what they don't know what they don't know.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why capital providers don't want to touch a dealer that isn't a year in and doesn't have so many so many accounts on. And I'm not saying that by what we're doing that everyone's gonna be able to get in and get the capital, but there's a reason why.
Yeah.
And it's because they don't have the bandwidth to teach the dealers all the stuff if they're
Yeah.
brand new. And so it's like, let's get them through a year of hard knocks, figure the stuff out. Then, we can step in there when we see that they're that they've kind of figured some of their stuff out. So we're trying to help those dealers figure that stuff out.
Yeah. Well, and I think I'm you are too. I'm a problem solver.
Oh
And
my
our
goodness.
clients have heard us say recently, like, several clients in recent conversations, we've said, I don't like repeating myself. I don't like going through the same thing week after week and not solving the problem. And so I won't. So I just want to. So with the clients, we just say, let's set a timeline. We're going to, at the end of 4 weeks or 8 weeks or whatever it looks like, we're not gonna be talking about this particular thing anymore.
Mhm.
So all this stuff around education and capital for early stage, and it's, those are problems. Yes. Can they be solved? I think so. And
Yeah.
so we're going to kind of step out there and help, educate people on how to better access money, how to make sure they can get to the dollars that make sense for them at that stage of their business, and all these kind of things. So it's part of the education we're going to be back. But first and foremost, we're going to stick to the fundamentals. Like I just keep saying, I'm an unapologetic fundamentalist. We're going to teach the fundamentals. Those things are
Yep.
fundamentally true. We'll invite others to help us teach the fundamentals. Right.
Yep. Yep. And I'm the wife of an unapologetic
There you go. Yeah.
unapologetic
Who adds a whole lot to that
but
too.
who knows and loves systems and processes and things like that. So it's
Yeah. So going back to the squiggly lines part of what we teach, though, Michelle and I did a morning show a while back where we talked very specifically about what we're talking about when we refer to the squiggly lines, kind of the intangible
Mhm.
part of our business and all the kind of the soft edges, if you will. And it occurred to me thinking about that over the weekend, Michelle, that if I ask dealers about a chicken versus the egg situation, if you think, okay, so if I'm on board with this idea of trying to be an asset to my community, do I create wealth? Do I focus on my business and the policies and procedures and the straight lines of my business, and I build my business and then I create wealth and then I'm able to better help my community? Or do I give generously to the community, kind of financially, and I'll say energetically? Do I energetically sort of give to my community?
Mhm.
And does that lead to wealth? If I come forward and I'm able to give to my community, which, what do I mean by give? I don't mean writing checks. I mean provide
Serving
solutions.
and yeah.
Be an asset. How am I going to be an asset to my neighbor?
Uh-huh.
How's that gonna is that gonna help me build a more successful and more sustainable business? I think you can tell by the way I'm asking the question. I think the answer is yes. I think that the answer is we don't have to wait until we're wealthy.
I remember way back when, because I'm one of those. There's so many people out there that worked in the service industry, and so
Mhm.
I've been a bartender and waited tables, and I remember a really sage, very wise, experienced person in that industry. They said the last thing in the world you want to do is to, I think there's truth to this, is count your tips as you go along.
Hmm.
Because when you focus on your customer and not on what they're paying you,
Hmm.
that your tips will increase.
Oh, interesting.
And it's true. It's like
Yeah.
if you are more interested in how can I serve? What can I do? How can I make this a better experience?
Hmm.
That, my I and besides that, I walked away knowing that I had made someone's day. And even if I had made the same tips that like the normal amount of tips or whatever, it just made me feel better.
Yeah.
I I went home not as exhausted, but it's like I lightened someone's load today, or I,
Mm.
and so there really is. It's kind of like one of those karmic things that people talk about.
Yeah.
That
That's good.
yeah, you get out there and you do, and give of the things that you have to give and help the people in the ways that you have. We're in such a beautiful position. Dealers across this country are in such a beautiful position to be able to help people that other people don't want to help.
Hmm. Or can't.
It
Right.
can't, yeah,
Yeah.
or won't.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, for sure. So I
and
think it's part of the 10-year thing that I talk about, like your story about the tips is kind of ties into the whole 10-year thing is like, if the customer's not happy today, I get it. They may have be in a stressful, unhappy situation today. But if I really focus on, thinking about how do I solve this problem and get this customer happy and make sure that they're with us for 10 years, then that kind of goes back to what you're saying on the tip thing. I'm not focused on this moment. I'm
Mhm.
focused on tomorrow and next year, and how do we solve this problem today so that this customer's still with me for a very long time, and now I'm not focused on that it's not about this $100 that they owe us today.
Yeah.
So it's really it becomes a different kind of approach, and so we definitely like that. But um, hey, Jeff Fulton in Kansas City. Glad to have you listening in this morning. I saw Brett Buick chimed in there as well. Shelly at Agora. Good morning, Shelly. Glad to have you listening in. Somebody from, I don't see who, says Facebook user said hello from the hurricane free part of the Gulf.
The golf.
Yeah.
Oh. All right. So people in listener
Wait.
land. I'm like, I am safe in Salt Lake.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like, Jim needs to start putting I am safe in such and such. And we talked about him going in a couple of hours in further inland. And I woke up this morning and I'm thinking, "Shoo." Yeah.
I
Um,
don't know what you're talking about.
I yeah, sorry. That you got a wife here that's a little bit you know, weather is that's yeah, be safe, honey.
Okay. Yeah. We're going to be safe. I'm going to, uh, I'm going to totally be safe. But yeah, we,
And those of you who know Jim know that he is just one of the most calm, thoughtful people ever. So, I know he's got all this stuff, and I'm the one calling him and say, "Have you got gas?
yeah,
Can you put all the food in the coolers? Put it in the car." And he's like,
stop,
"Honey,
stop, stop. I will deal with it when it's time to deal with it. Right now,
oh yeah,
it's my
yeah."
nature. But yeah,
Morning,
yeah.
DR.
Hey,
Sir, I
GR,
have not really met you yet. I know that we were at a conference recently together, and I was like, "Jim, did you meet GR?" And he
yeah,
was
he came up and said
like, "No,
hello after our
I have
session.
not." So I don't know if you're planning on being at a super forum,
Oh,
and
let's get him there.
yeah,
We'll be there, George
so
or GR. We gotta get you there.
you.
Yeah. So that's cool. We hope that'll work out, and we have our live event coming up in Orlando again if the weather holds and we are able to have that conference in Orlando. That's early next week, so hopefully
Yeah,
that'll be fun.
we'll let y'all know if anything, if at least people we can broadcast what changes there might be. So
Listen to
kind
my
of what
wife. Listen to my Seattle-born Utah wife saying y'all. She
yeah.
spent time with her.
Hey, I spend a little bit of time with a few people in Texas, um, and I have a husband that does that, and it just
Mhm.
rolls off the tongue so nicely.
Yeah, it saves consonants too. That's my main thing is I'm trying to, like the folks in Texas, it just saves a lot of time. Which is why you're able to see me be so relaxed and postpone things until it's time to deal with it, is because I've saved all this time on consonants.
I,
Right?
yeah,
See?
yeah,
See, that's the way it
that's
works.
it.
You folks in Texas, you chime in and you confirm. That's what it's all about. It's saving time. You don't have to waste
Well,
time with
yeah,
phrases and consonants.
I'm an appreciator of saving consonants every once in a while, except
Yeah.
for where I live in Utah. People don't use their T's, and that drives me nuts sometimes because it's mountain instead of mountain.
Yeah, but it's quicker.
It is, but it is,
Yeah.
yes. But
We
you know
should.
what? I'm going to use y'all.
Yeah, there you go. Good. I like it. It makes me feel at home. So, yeah. So we're going to let you folks go. I think, again, anybody out there who's listening who can contribute to all of this mentorship, we want to hear from you. We're not trying to do it all ourselves. We know we can't do it ourselves. So please, by all means, reach out to us. And if you have an interest in playing a role in mentoring new dealers or dealers that are dealing with a particular problem, we want to hear from you. And so again, we appreciate folks tuning in, and we're going to let them jump. Michelle, do you have anything else before I sign off?
There's a lot of stuff that's coming up. We've got the thing in Quakertown, Pennsylvania on the 19th, and then the Arizona Finance Conference the end of October, and then the Buy Here Pay Here Super Forum. These are other really great opportunities to learn even more. So
Mhm.
if you have the ability to make it to any of those, please do. And then again, the town hall that we're going to be doing in Quakertown, Pennsylvania, will be broadcast live, so everyone can kind of pop into that. And we're going to have some really great topics. What's happening in the capital markets, and talking about the best and worst of Facebook.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, there's gonna be some good stuff on there. We'll start
Yeah,
sharing more about that
yeah,
agenda in the coming weeks here, but in the meantime, thanks for tuning in, folks. We're gonna say, so long, and I'll let you know where I
yeah.
land.
Where in the world is?
Yeah, I'm gonna go buy a canoe, and, we'll tell you where we're gonna be
That's why
broadcasting.
you're always going to stay on top of it, honey. That's so
Right, see?
smart.
I got it. Have the broadcasting equipment in the canoe, and, you'll just have to wait and see where we talk to you from on
Yeah.
Wednesday.
So, we got a lot of friends around the state of Florida and around some of the Gulf, and just stay safe.
Mhm.
Yep.
Absolutely. So until, Wednesday, you guys, have yourself a great day, and we'll talk again soon.
All right. Bye, guys.